Ah, we got you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Very good.
I want to make sure I turn my TV down here. Hold on.
Okay. I'll turn my phones off as well.
Okay.
The
So what's
dreaded
going
phone. So yes, every Saturday I do a radio show. Every 9 o'clock in the evening here, UK time,
Yeah.
and it transmits. It's an internet station. We only started last April.
Okay.
And we have about a million connections a month at the moment.
Good.
Which is
Yeah.
okay. And the shows moved around over the months.
Sure.
Sort of got onto this 70s, 80s, 90s house party, anything goes type thing. And
Good music. Good music.
yeah. And I get a few requests that just keep on coming, and Too Blind to See It is one of them.
Wow. How
You know,
wonderful.
Alison Limerick is another, of course. But
Really?
and I must admit, every time Too Blind gets played, I always sing along.
Oh.
It's always been one of those songs. So
Aw.
and reggae comes on, great. So anyway, so I thought, right, well, I used your voice that you graciously gave us a few weeks ago, and
Yeah.
edited your speech.
Okay. Yeah. I tend to be long-winded. I mean, I will talk forever.
And I tried to do it. I'm not a great editor, but I did what I could. And
Okay.
so with
I
that,
could have done it over for you.
don't worry. Don't worry. It was great you
Okay.
did it anyway.
All right.
And then I thought, and then last week again, I actually played it again, the both the jingles, and
Yes.
people were sort of going wow and blah blah blah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
nice. So and I thought during the week, I thought, I wonder if I can surprise them with a chorus and a verse, a verse and a chorus. And unfortunately, for what the reason you said,
Yeah, it's more of a
it's copyright.
it's copyright, and it's also an issue I have with Steve Silk Hurley.
Oh, is it really? Okay, fine.
Yeah, and so for me, it's more of a stance than it is a copyright. If
Fine.
you'll
Don't worry.
Okay.
No problem at all.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I thought, well, look, it's 30 years.
Yes.
Good
I'm gonna send you
to do
a
it.
t-shirt too.
Hmm?
Send me your address. I want to send you a t-shirt
Oh,
for the
thank you.
30-year anniversary.
Okay.
Your site. We'll talk about that later, though.
All right, lovely. But don't get me a small.
I was looking at. I thought an extra small, but
I love you again. So, and you know what? You are the first person I've ever interviewed in this type of way.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a good luck charm, because I'm hoping and praying to get back overseas. I'm
Yeah.
hoping and praying that all of this goes away, and I've got a new single that I'm trying to work out. So this could be the catalyst of something new, since it's new for you.
Yeah. I was doing a little bit of research today and yesterday, and there's a song you released a couple of years ago. Well, I'm not too sure what you did with it. Des Ford did a mix of Dance Floor.
Yes, it was released last year. Yes, for
Last year.
Yes. Well, let me say this.
It was on vinyl only, wasn't it?
It was never released. Let me take that back.
Ah.
No, dance floor. Yes, it was. And it was only vinyl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want a copy of that? Because they've got, Scott has it over there, and I can send you a white label, have him send you a white label of it if you'd like.
Oh, super. That'd be fantastic. That'd
Yeah.
be lovely.
But that was a
I
great
thought,
mix.
great song. Really good. And I think
Yeah.
I was hunting the internet trying to find.
Right.
I went on Beatport, Tracksource, and all the rest.
Yes.
Went
Yes.
to a few of the other places as well, you know.
Well, good news. Good news is Scott is going to re-release it on what is it? Not Beatport, all those
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
So what is that called? Digital.
Digital. Yeah, yeah.
Digital. Yeah. So he's going to be releasing it on digital. So
Oh, fantastic. It's a good song.
it is a good song. And Des is so funny. His gets a lot of reaction. And I think it's a phenomenal mix.
Yeah, very, very good. Very, very good.
Okay. Yeah.
So, on a, you know, I do 70s, 80s, 90s on a Saturday.
Yes.
On a
Yes.
Saturday, I do a house session show between 6 and 8.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I play all the latest stuff, and
Okay. Okay.
so I would definitely play on that as well. So.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, if you need the track, you know, from the digital side, and I will also have Scott, Scott Featherstone send it. And also, I'll just send you a white label. I've signed them all, so I'll just.
Oh, super. That's very, very gracious of you. Thank
no
you.
worries.
Oh, lovely. Right.
Thank you.
So, it says it's my first.
I'm your first. Can you oh my God, I broke you in. Oh my
God. Be gentle.
Now I'll be gentle with you, because see, you know, I'm a little vintage. I'm a little old school.
Hey, I think we're the same age.
I don't know, but I won't ask, I won't tell. But listen, since I'm gonna be your first, I'll go gentle with you, okay?
Okay, all right. Cool. If you can tell me where you were born,
okay,
and just skip through the first few years.
Okay, just the beginning, yeah, from the beginning until yeah. Well, I was born in Chicago back in the day. The south side of Chicago, which was a beautiful experience. I from the very beginning, my parents knew I could sing. They used to, I was a little short. I'm still a little and short, but I was a little tiny thing. And they would, if we'd have family gatherings or if we would go on vacation somewhere, they'd put me on a little stool and have me sing Hello Dolly by Louis Armstrong. Don't ask. Anyway, and then it just kind of evolved. My mom and I would sing You Are My Sunshine as a duet, you know, just as a little bit person. And then as time went on through middle school, grade school, 8th grade, I sang at my 8th grade graduation. They found out I could sing because one of the students in my class knew that I loved the song Ben by Michael Jackson. Yeah. So she dared me and this is so crazy, but the teacher's name was Miss Balanoff. And Miss Balanoff, can I say the B word? She was the B word, okay? And she didn't like nobody. So my friend, she pretty much said to me, I dare you to break out in Ben in class while everybody's quiet.
Yeah.
What do you think I did?
You were quiet, yeah?
Okay, I sang Ben. Well, that was the start of something I probably wasn't too happy about. But anyway, she stopped, she turned around, everybody was like, whoa. And so from that point on, I sang at 8th grade graduation. This is when I really kind of recognized and knew that I was, you know, maybe people liked my voice. And I mean, think about it. 8th grade, I had a teeny tiny voice like Michael Jackson. I mean, and I could hit those way high notes. And so that's kind of the evolution from the, I guess, the basic side, if you will, just getting into it. And I had horrible stage fright. So I was very afraid to get on stage because I was so worried somebody would ridicule or whatever. Went through high school, got in talent shows, won talent shows, and started to build my confidence even more, you know.
Yeah.
So those were the early years.
And then you went into what was your first job?
Well, as far as a job
Hmm.
or singing job, okay. I used to work at Max Hot Dogs. Max Hot Dog Shack. And it was actually, I was in eighth grade. My dad knew this person, and he said, why don't you let Kim work, you know, just a little part-time after school? And I had this fetish for socks. I loved socks in every color. And in order to get all the socks that I wanted, I need to make a little change because my parents weren't going to go out and buy me 30 pairs of socks in different colors all the time. So that was kind of my motivation too. And my dad allowed me to do that because he was a friend. But that was actually my first job. Yep, Max Hot Dogs.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's it.
Yeah, it was good. They were tasty too.
Good. And was there a Max?
Yes,
There was. There was. Okay.
yes, there was.
So you went from Max and the hot dogs to when? Did you then go to being a jingle singer? Or
Well, so went to high school, and there was a music teacher by the name of Lena McGlynn. And I speak on her because if you Google her, I mean, I think she might have passed away, but she's a renowned choral vocal coach. I mean, not to say this is anything special, but she mentored R. Kelly. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but he could sing. And I mean, she actually has been the catalyst for a lot of music singers.
yes.
I went to high school, and Miss McGlynn had me in her choir. She was hardcore, do you know what I mean? And she pulled out a lot, in me vocally. I ended up leaving the school mid-year and went to a school that she and the other choral teacher at the other school, they were rivals. They couldn't stand each other. So I was in Miss Ham Ying's chorus. Anyway, long story short, senior year, we had a big chorus battle or whatever, and our school won. I got to sing a solo. After that, I went on to work at a bank. Uh, and I met my sister-in-law there, actually, sister-in-law. Anyway, during that time, I wanted to be a part of the music. I just didn't know what direction to go in. Well, a lady came to my mom and said, you should let Kim join the Miss Black Chicago pageant. And I was like, I don't want to join that. No, I don't want to be in a pageant. I just thought it was corny. And then I thought it was the Miss Black Chicago pageant. And because I was so fair, I wouldn't have a chance of winning, And so I was thinking of all of those things. Well, anyway, she convinced me. I ended up joining the pageant. I came in first runner-up. The reason I was the first runner-up is because the winner, she was a hoochie, and she could dance, and she had a banging body, but she had no talent except for beauty. Okay. And I'm telling you the truth. So, but how I won was the man that was the producer and the music orchestrator, and he did all of the production. His name is Paul David Wilson. He owned a jingle house called Herschel Commercial. Mm-hmm. Well, after the pageant, the winner went on to become Miss Black America. She couldn't hold two titles, so I became Miss Black Chicago. So I was able to, go around and sing and do different things. Yeah. However, she ended up in Jamaica trying to bring some contraband back, and she got in trouble. Okay, so I was able to step up, and Paul Wilson asked me if I was interested in singing jingles.
Yeah.
It's like the jingle, I couldn't figure out what. And when he told me, I'm like, of course. And so that's how that happened. It was organic. He brought me into the studio. The first jingle I sang was ooh ah oh poppin' fresh dough. It was for yeah. And then yeah, a group session. But my biggest breakout was two McDonald's national spots. One was called First Glasses. You got to go look it up on YouTube.
How were they?
Glasses. And then my biggest spot was for a soda pop. We call it pop over here, but cola. And it was for Shasta. And that was like a huge campaign. So
Yeah.
that's where the jingle thing came in. And I did that for like 5 years. And then in between, I was married, had kids. And so sort of was, in between. So I stopped doing the jingles, but it was probably the best part of my life financially. And it was, to hear myself singing a song about a product at such a young age. I was only 20 years old, 21.
Yeah.
It was an amazing part of my life.
So were you paid a session fee for each jingle, or do you get?
Well, what you do get a session fee, but you also are a member of AFTRA, American Federation of Television, right, and SAG, Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
So each time the commercial is played international, wherever, you get a little piece of change, and it was nice.
Good.
Yes. So that was, and I wish I could get back into it because it's so different now in the jingle thing. I was watching a Shaggy It Wasn't Me, Shaggy, the Jamaican. Anyway, he's got a song on Super Bowl. It wasn't me. His song, It Wasn't Me. So songs are starting to reinvent themselves, and a lot of the jingle houses and producers are looking for old school songs. So I'm praying that Trying to See It will maybe make a comeback. However, this time around, as a singer, I will be paid by Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA for my vocals.
Yes.
And Hurley will be paid for the writing of the song.
Yes.
So if that would happen, that would be cool. But yeah, I always got paid for anything that re-aired. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you stopped doing the jingles. You were married, had children.
Mm-hmm.
How many children?
I have 2 children, and now my son is Ryan. He's 35. I had him when I was 12.
Cool.
Of course. No, and my daughter, Ryan, has 5 children. He has 4 sons and 1 daughter.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, Taylor, is 32, and she has 2 children, and then she's married to someone that has a child. So I have a bonus grandchild. So she actually has 3. So I have 8 grandkids. Yes, and 2 wonderful children, 2 beautiful children. I'm on the second husband, though. I had to let that first one go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happened.
You get that one.
I mean, I was too blind to see it. Let's just say that.
I've said it 3 times in the last couple of days.
Have you really?
It's quite funny. Anyway, so you finished with the jingles. So how did you bump into Steve Silk Hurley?
Well, here's the thing. We grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
We all, there were tons of us that lived in the same. His wife, Tony, and I became friends. We just somehow, became friends. And she was my best friend. And so we hung out all the time. And at that time, Steve was, DJing, a young dude DJing. I didn't necessarily know what his real grind was. I just knew he DJ'd, but I didn't go to a lot of the clubs that he, the undergrounds. And so what happened was there was a party that Steve and Tony were giving for a friend of theirs who became a friend of mine. She was moving out of town, out of state. And so Tony knew I could sing. Steve knew I could sing, but no one really, they knew I was a jingle singer,
Yeah.
jingle singing, you have to sing everything perfectly, and everything was strategic, and a lot of times you're not able to sort of bust out and sing like you really sing.
So what was this sort of 85, 86, 87,
Well,
or
actually, this was hold on, let me see. We knew each other back in the 80s,
yeah?
80s through 80, 85, 87, 80, but the actual party was 89.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, 89 almost into 90, right? Um, and they asked me to sing
Steve
a
had already
song.
had a couple of hit records, didn't he, by then?
Absolutely, yeah. But see, I didn't know that. I really didn't. It was like I said, we traveled in different circles.
Yeah.
Um, but we both knew that we did something, right? And I was very, very I'm not sounding braggadocious, but I was doing very well in my jingle thingy. So everybody kind of knew that was what was going on with me.
Yeah.
So once that stopped, um, I went to the party and they asked me to sing Inseparable by Natalie Cole. And I sang that. And right after that, right after the party, Steve, came up to me. He's like, "Yo, Kim, I didn't know you could sing like that." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And he says, "Well, I've got a studio, I've got some records out." And I didn't know. But I said, "Yeah, okay." And so he says, "Listen, you think maybe you want to come in and do some tracks, do some songs, see what can happen?" And it's funny. I said to him, I said, "I've always asked God to just give me a record. I just want a record. I want one record, put it on the radio. You know what I mean? You got to be careful what you ask for, right? Because this one record is like, you know what I mean?" So anyway, truly, we went into the studio. I want to say maybe a few weeks later. I was going through a horrible divorce, horrible marriage. It was just a lot going on. And so it was really hard for me to get to the studio with having the kids and not having the support of I call him the COVID now, but I don't mean to be mean, but because I know it's a serious thing, but I had the COVID way before COVID even existed with this. Okay, I'm just saying. Anyway, God bless anybody who's going through it. I pray that we all get through it.
Yeah.
And for those that have gone on. So we went in and he says, "Hey, I've got this song." And literally, I listened to it, and in doing jingles, you got to learn it fast. So you get it in, and he played it back and forth. I got the melody in my head, and it was True Blind to See It. And he may correct me, but I kind of remember that it was only a couple of takes. And I think if you listen to the original, you may hear some pitches. I'm not sure. We didn't have all those pitch thingies back then. But anyway, it was only a few takes. We did it as a demo. I don't even know that Steve wasn't searching it using me as a demo singer and searching it for someone else. I'm not sure. But anyway, they put it out on ID, their label, and he had a partner who will remain, well, he's dead now, but who will remain, I call him 6 feet under.
Yeah.
I didn't like him. Anyway, so he had a partner and they, did the whole nine, put it out, and it just sort of bubbled underground. Now, I was told just recently, well, maybe a year ago by Steve maybe 2 years ago, I heard, I wasn't told by Steve, but I heard that no one wanted to sign me or the song, but somehow with the way that the UK embraced it, you all embraced it, you all like, yeah, you took it. And that's where it all broke through over there. And I'll forever be grateful, And so then, go ahead.
Got to number 5, I think, in the UK.
It did. And I'm like, but here's the thing. Imagine being somewhere else in the world and your show is being aired over there. And you can probably look at the numbers, but someone is telling you this information. You have no idea. Having it go number 5 for me was okay. I didn't know number 5 on that big chart, the one that was, massive. And I'm like, well, 5's not bad, And I'm like, number one. In my mind, that was my number one. But anywho, I never really got to experience all of that because I was thrust into it and it was over there. So at home, I was just Kim. And over there, I thought it was almost not funny to me, but it was like, the hell is going on? You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was, but yeah, number 5. And that became something that at Atlantic Records, at Co East West, they jumped on it. And the next thing you know, here we are. I wouldn't be talking to you.
No, no. So, did you come over here to promote it when it was a hit?
Yes, I was everywhere. Leeds, Manchester, Wolverhampton, London, Liverpool, Scotland. I can go on and on and on. I can't remember all of it. Small places, small little,
Yeah.
And it actually went, I think it went gold right in the beginning of 92, because 91, by celebrating the 30 years, 91 was when it hit it hit the chart at number 5 or something like that. And then the gold record came after that. But yeah, I was everywhere promoting. I did Top of the Pops. We can't find that video. All we can find is the video of my video, but we can't find the actual, I don't know. And then I did Club MTV over there. I did a couple of morning shows. I can't remember. One of them there was a puppet that talked to me. I did an interview with a puppet.
I'm just trying to think. There was.
And we talking early 90s,
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's funny. It's funny. Des Ford told me, he said, I was a little kid and I saw you on there. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Anyway, but so yeah, I did that, and not just in the UK. As time went on, I got some love here in the US, but nothing like the love I got internationally. No.
I read that you're very popular in the Scandinavian countries as well.
And see, I didn't even know that. I've never been to Scandinavia. I think, just to delve into a little negative stuff, because I'm really trying to be out of that, but I don't think I had the right people, on the same track with me to get me to those places. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it probably all happened very fast.
Well, yeah, it did. And the traveling side of it was, I think for them, it was, we're going to go. I don't know if you've seen this video out. There's this guy that blew up singing this song, Where the Money Resides, Where the Money Resides. So they were sending me where the money resides,
Yeah.
And so I didn't even realize South Africa. And so I hadn't been to those places, but Japan, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, the Netherlands. Oh God, everywhere that would be, UK-ish, Scotland-ish. What's the other? Oh God, anywhere over there, I was there. Yeah.
All right.
Ireland. I'm sorry, Ireland. Yeah.
Ireland as well. Yes, can't forget Ireland. No.
Right.
No. What was the strangest thing that happened when you were doing all these appearances?
Well, I'll give you 2 short ones. One was, there was some intercession or some sort of different mall bombings, and different things were going on at a particular time. And it was in England, and it was in there was just a lot of scary stuff going on, and they were, telling people not to go out to many places because there were terrorist things going on. You know what I mean? Stuff that I hadn't experienced here, but now of course it's a different story. Yeah. In this particular, I was going to be singing at an outdoor mall. Is that what you guys call them? Like
shopping center.
Yeah, exactly. And we get there and we see all of the, I guess I call them National Guards, but all the police and all the people around. And I'm like, oh, wow, I got all this protection. I'm like, oh, that's Kim Sims, you know. They're like, we got to get the hell up out of here because they just bombed somewhere over here. And I was like, oh, God, no. So anyway, I wasn't able to do that. So that was a very strange and scary thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing, which blows my mind, and you might not think it's that, but I go into Top Shop.
Yes.
Shop, you know, and I'm walking down the street. I walked down High Street. I can't remember where this Top Shop was, but it was in London, of course. And so I'm just walking down the street. I got my hat on. You know, that's just who I am. I wear a hat and sunglasses. That's just what I do. So I'm not to hide anything. But I noticed as I'm walking, people looking at me. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm rubbing my nose, make sure everything's good there, you know. And I walk into Top Shop, and there on the screen is Too Blind to See It playing on the video. That let me just say this. That was probably, it still gives me chills because it was surreal. So I was like, that's me. You know, I'm looking up there like, that's me. So I go on to continue to shop. I didn't like go, hey, that's me. I didn't do that because that's just not how and I just figured then someone behind the register says, she's pointing to her friend and she's going, looking there, and she goes, I think that's her. And I'm walking. So they come up to me, they go, excuse me, you look a lot like Kim Sims. Are you Kim Sims?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And the first thing I'm thinking is, oh God, you're the bill collector. You found me. I can't pay the bill. And they're like, oh my, and everyone comes over, swarms around me. I wasn't afraid. I was just stunned. I couldn't believe that somebody recognized me, you know, and the song was playing.
On the other side of the world.
Huh?
On the other side of the world.
On the other side of the world, because at home, they didn't care, honey. I walk out the door, ain't nobody look at me. And you know what I mean? Unless I was doing a club there. And normally, to be honest, I'm still big in the gay community.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of gay clubs here in the US as well as overseas. Much love to the LGBTQIE community, because there were times when no one else called my phone to give me a gig, and they were right on point. So I have to give love to them always. But yeah, that was probably the craziest thing, you know. Whew, yeah. And it was awesome at the same time.
And what did your parents think of this super?
My parents always thought, well, as I said, when I was little, they'd set me up on a thing and have me sing. I think they always thought that, you know, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. My dad passed away before he got to see me, you know, on stage, but my mother, but they both were a part of my jingle life.
Yes.
So they were just over the moon about me being on. My mother used to say, I don't know why they don't put you on camera. You should be the one, you know, but I was just doing the voiceovers, but you know what? I wasn't complaining. And I think when it hit my dad, he, with the jingles, my dad was a postman.
Yes.
And he had 2 jobs. He was a humble man and he took great care of his family. He had a postal job and then he had a second job exterminating. Okay. So he was working hard all the time. And I used to get checks in the mail. I mean, literally residual checks. And when I tell you, they were nice, Leonard. They were like huge. And he said to me, I never thought I'd see the day when one of my children has made more in 1 year than I've made in a lifetime. And he was so proud of that. And so he did get a chance to see it, but he didn't get a chance to see, you know, that side of it. But he did see me getting, you know, living my dream.
Yeah.
Hang on one sec for me. I've had the sniffles ever since I came back from my my daughter's house. So, okay. Yeah. I wasn't crying. I was sniffling. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that's what they thought about it. My mom has passed away since then too.
Oh. Um, after the first single, the second single was still a hit.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And I think it got to about number 13.
I think it was 11 or 13. I'm not, yeah, one of those.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm just looking here.
Yeah.
So we got Too Blind to See It and Take My Advice.
Yes.
And they were all with Steve Silk Hurley,
Hurley. Yeah.
Smooth, Maurice Joshua.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Love them.
Yeah. And then you then went with a little bit more with Joey Negro.
Mm-hmm. But everything was still on that Atco East West record.
Yeah.
Everything on that album. So every Joey Negro was more of a remixer as opposed. I was still with that Steve Hurley clan.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then I see DJ Pierre.
Yes, he did.
Morales.
Yes, yeah.
Who's who?
Huge. Yeah. But he check this out. I didn't even know that was going on. Can I just be honest?
Yeah.
Honestly, I was Kim Sims, and I was that Too Blind to See It Kim Sims, and I was very ditzy, older than most of them, but just kind of fly by night. So for me, it was about getting out there singing, making that little piece of change and coming back, not knowing that all this other stuff was going on, but they were Pierre and Morales and Negro, they were helping the song fly, you know what I mean? Because I didn't understand the remix thing. And I really still don't. I just think if you have a masterpiece, well, that was old school. That's the way we thought about it years ago, right? Yeah. So masterpiece in itself, I'm not just saying Too Blind to See It was a masterpiece, but if you have I didn't understand that whole trying to redo it and all that stuff. It didn't make any sense to me. So I just always focused on that one mix. And the mix and I don't know if this is the one that you prefer, but I like the one with the rap in it. It's the urban mix. It's very down tempo, and it's not I don't sound as chipmunky. I sounded like a chipmunk because they
find the less chipmunky version.
Yes, you must find that version because they sped me up. Yeah. And so that was one of my issues too, that I wanted people to know that I could really sing, and I didn't complain back then. I just did what I did. And I was just grateful for having what I had. But when I say this, I can't emphasize it enough to you. I really and truly had no idea of what it massively did. I'm just finding that out now via someone like you or people that are still playing it or people that I've met over there. I've got tons of fans that come through to me, and they say to me, God, Kim, you don't understand. That song was massive. Well, I probably would have understood it a little bit more if I had been going to the bank. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Well, yes.
Yes. So, you're very diplomatic. I love that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, first album goes through, and then what happened?
So, I really think that Too Blind, did its thing. Take My Advice did its thing. I don't believe that I can't say. I don't know if it has something to do with the label or bad management. Excuse me. I just know that I believe they were looking to just recoup. They put the whole album out, and I don't know if you've ever listened to the whole album, but it's a great album. Some of the best writers, Shantae Savage sang some background, Donnell Rush, Jerry McAllister, Steve Hurley, myself, writers on this album. And the songs were just great. I hope I didn't miss anybody's name, but I think they recouped, and I got the album deal, but I just don't think that they gave me the push and felt the oomph that needed to be felt. And here's the other thing. In the fact that Hurley had hits, but I don't know that this might have been up to that point one of his biggest, for that time. But so they had different artists coming to them, big artists coming to them. And so, their focus, I think, shifted to, like CC and Jamanda and, all of the, and
You wrote a song for CC.
I wrote a song for Kim Sims that they gave to CC.
Ah, right.
Yeah, here's the thing with that. Keep on Walking.
Keep on Walking, yes.
Yeah, was a song that I demoed for what I thought was my album, right? Yeah. And Eric E. Smooth apparently found some songs in I guess somewhere in the studio, and that was one of them that we had. He says, well, why don't we let Kim, demo these songs and see what happens. So I did Keep on Walking, and I was told that that was going to be the follow-up to Too Blind to See It.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that would have been great. And our versions, CC and I have different voices and different styles, but versions were on point.
Yeah.
She did an awesome job. I have nothing but respect, for her. However, I think what happened was A&R came to Hurley and the crew and said, listen, well, let me say, they sent that demo out. So there was no intentions of it, because you're not going to send the demo out if you try to give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
She heard it. Manny Lehman at the time, or A&R, she loved it. They gave it to her. I had no clue. I knew nothing. Okay. I'm just thinking that these demos are going. I wasn't part of the remixing and the producing and all that. I did co-write, the song. However, when I found out that the song had been given to CC, I heard it on the radio.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Needless to say, here's the thing. I was bitter. Yeah. And I was bitter for a long time, not with CC, because it went really well, and I do get residuals from it. So more bitter at the fact that I didn't feel that that I was.
It weren't helping you.
Right, quality enough. And here's the other thing, and this is for anybody that might be listening: separate friendships and business. They never work. And I can't fault anyone for being a business person, but I can fault someone for treating a friend a little different. You know what I mean? Not knocking on the door saying, hey, we're going to do this, So that was a hard thing for me. So yeah, to answer your question, I did write it, but I didn't write it for CC. I wrote it for myself.
Okay. All right. Okay. So after that, after the first album and the releases, what then happened?
Yeah. Everything just died down. I mean, I still worked, I still was able to gig. That's when the gay community came in. That's when the community came, and they're like, hey, we still love you, girl. Come on over here and twirl. So I probably really worked hard and heavy up until about 95. Mm-hmm. So then the kids are getting older. Divorce was final. So I just it wasn't that I took a vacation. I was
must have been a whirlwind.
Yeah. It was like you go from here to sort of here, and then the phone stops ringing, and then your value in the industry goes down. Mm-hmm. I've always been valuable, but they don't see it that way. You know what I mean? So I believe I was forced. And let me say this, I probably could have tried harder, to be honest with you, and kept, trying to push and push and push. But I didn't have it in me. I think I got discouraged, I got disappointed, and I just let a lot of things, stand in my way. Well, as my dad used to say, you need to get out of your own way. If you're really trying to do something, sometimes fear stops you from doing what you need to do. But if you don't do it, you'll never know. So I just laid back for 20 years. No, maybe, let's see.
A while.
A while. Yeah. And then I got married again.
Yeah.
And I married someone that really supported and supports what I do. And he was always instrumental in saying, get back into it. So I started gigging around the area where I live. And every now and then somebody would call and say, hey, you want to do a gig here and there? And your prices go down. And by this time, getting back on it this time around, it's more of a for the love, because I don't have to pay my bills. It's not something that is going to keep me afloat. It's really something that I'm doing from my heart. It was always that way, but it was more serious because I had to take care of myself. And my husband, thank God, has allowed and afforded me the opportunity to do it for the love of it. So, and I have to say, I prayed on it a whole lot. I believe, I have faith, and I just believe that timing is everything. And then my friend Thomas Arambula, who wrote some of my most recent songs, Deep in the City and Turn It Up, he kept, Kim, get out there. So I had to, it was like I was being motivated, punched and kicked a little bit, but.
And Deep in the City, there's a story behind that one.
Yep, it was an homage to all of the house DJs, and Thomas wrote it with the intention of giving respect to those he grew up listening to, and because he was a club kid, and he said, Kim, I would love you to try this song and just sing it. And he gave me the melody. I was smoking a cigar. We were sitting outside at a restaurant, Mexican restaurant. And he's like, just sing this. And he was literally writing, and we're putting on the phone. And so we go home. He went back to his house, and I came back here to Atlanta. And we said, let's put it out. So we got in touch with, I can't think of it, Fourth Quarter, I think, reached out, Frank Sansom, yeah. And Frank Blythe, I'm sorry. And so anyway, he ended up building a track around the song. We loved it. The homage, a lot of people had their thoughts and said that, we had it wrong when it came to who was who. Long as Frankie Knuckles was in there, I didn't care who I sang about. You know what I mean? Because if we're going to talk about house, and then it was the New York against the Chicago and California and Detroit. I didn't know nothing about that. And let me say this to you. I wasn't into house music. House music found me. I was not a house music singer. I did go to the clubs once Steve, I would go and watch him after all this went down. But I didn't know anything about it. So for Thomas, it was just a tribute. And it did okay. As I said, the DJs, some of them were good and said, and some were like, no, you don't have the story right. You know what I mean? So, but Tom, great job. So that's all that matters.
There's been a swell of people who are enjoying the latest music, and the reviews have been good as well.
Thank you. It has been, and as I say to you, I'm not, as I say, you got to be careful what you look. You got to be careful what you're looking for or what you say. I'm not looking for that anymore. I'm looking for this. Does that make sense? I'm looking for the now. I'm more focused on people recognizing that I'm a singer and that I can sing, and the music that I put out, I have something to do with, whether it goes to one or whether it just goes to the cemetery. I really don't care. I So I
Close to the cemetery, but I've got another important question.
okay.
Are you a
Okay.
house gal? Are you just house now, or you want to do other styles?
I want to do, you know what? I'm gonna stay true to the house
Mm,
somewhat. I
mm.
will never leave it because that's what got me here.
Yeah.
And I will always, most of the stuff I do starts with house. It does, the new stuff. And if it doesn't start with house, there's a remix that can make it house. I, you know,
I know.
so I sing it the way they asked me to sing it, and then they make it the way it is. You know what I mean? The only thing I ask from anybody that produces me or does my vocals is to respect my vocals, make sure they're on there. I don't want to be a ooh ah a through the whole song. It's not maybe in the mix, but I want to sing a true song. I think that's what made Too Blind to See It so special. It was a song,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, it had a meaning. Men and women tell me they went through things, and you know, being too blind to see it. I mean, we we can say we are in different things now. So I mean, it was and that's what I want. I'm not trying to recapture Too Blind. And when it's funny when I hear so many remakes and I hear people remaking it and stuff, I think it's a great thing. You know, I did it. It's 30 years old. I feel like, not that I'm these people, but I feel like you got Gloria Gaynor can only sing I Will Survive. You got Donna Summers that sang bad, what is it? Wait a minute.
Girls, I feel love.
I feel anything and everything.
Yeah.
Anybody, you know, you can get any and everybody to remake it. But when people get stuck on the original, they never forget it. So for me, I feel like I've written my name in history. So anybody and anything or anyone that comes through with it now, I'll always be known for Too Blind to See It, Kim Sims, and I'm okay with that, you know. And so I'm not trying to
There
recreate.
are some people who hate the song that they started with, or they launched, or they go
Yes,
play that one again, and
yes,
they absolutely hate it.
yes, yes. You know what's funny? Steve came to me about, and I just need to tell you this just so you can kind of understand where I am with remaking it or something. He came to me about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, doesn't matter, and asked me if I would be interested in remaking it. He was coming out with a 20, so it was 5 years ago, a 25-year anniversary
Yeah.
album for a lot of his stuff and a lot of the music. CC, you know, he's going to put everybody on there. And so I had always said, because I was so bitter over how things went down, I say to everybody, I will never, ever sing that song again, ever. You know, that was my attitude. Well, we went to Chicago, my husband and I, and we went to a big house thing. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's called The Chosen Few. Marshall Saunders, Jesse Saunders, Marshall Jefferson, all of them are a part of it. It's a big festival. Anyway, I went there, and while I was in Chicago, Steve reached out to me again, and my husband and I talked about it, and he convinced me to do some new vocals. I
Well,
went,
I've
yeah,
you've done
that's like,
one or two.
so I have done new vocals for Too Blind. He wanted them to sound, yeah, I've done new vocals,
Right?
and he wanted it to sound very, very much like the old stuff, the old vocals. So, you got to do a little tweaking. I was able to make it sound as much as I could vocally.
Yeah.
So when when we first decided to record the song, I said to him, I said, listen, I want to redo Take My Advice. And he didn't want to pay me for my vocals. And I was adamant about being paid because I just felt like I deserved to be paid. But he says, it's not that kind of thing anymore. Music's not this way. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, let me Take My Advice. And, you pay for the studio time. And, so he said, okay, it was never a trade-off. But what it was I felt like paying me a little bit to do what I needed to do without me having to go buy it, do it for somebody else. Did those both that day. I said to him, I said, now things are going to be different. I'm going to get points on Too Blind. I'm going to be recognized. I'm going to, licensing. I need all of the different things. He said, yes. The one thing that he did that I thank God for now is he let me walk out of there without signing any contract. And when I walked out of that door, I didn't realize that I was in control. I still didn't realize it. I was like, okay, so he's got vocals, so he can. Well, a year ago, now we're talking 5 years ago, a year ago, he reached out to me. Steve did. And let me just say this, I'm not angry with Steve anymore. I am just over that part of my life. So he reached out and asked me and said to me, hey, listen, I'm ready to put Too Blind out. We got the 30-year anniversary coming up. We're gonna have CC, Shantae, Jamie Principal. He's telling me all these people that are involved. And a lot of these people are people that fell out with him too. And so I said, oh, right, okay, cool. No, I'm not interested in it. And he said, well, why? I said, I'm just not. And so you do not have permission to use my vocals, use my old vocals, but I own the master to my new ones. And I can't tell you how good that made me feel. I wasn't trying to get him back. I was just trying to gain that Kim Sims I should have been 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so there are vocals, but they will never be released.
Okay.
If I do, and I was talking to some folks about redoing it and, starting over, but what sense does it make to you to line somebody else's pocket? Not get that you're due. So I just decided I'm gonna sit back on this. And I thank God every day that he didn't let me sign that contract. Steve dropped the ball. That's his fault. He put the 30-year anniversary album out, and he's got everybody, all of the people except me. Now, I don't know that I make a difference one way or the other, but I can tell you one thing. I sleep good at night, and I'm glad I made that decision. Mm. So I just had to share that with you.
I know.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of this, I brought up that there was a song that I'd found, I'd never heard before, and you said it might be coming out.
Yes. Now, which one was that?
Well,
was it Love's Got a Hold on Me?
Well, there's that one as well.
Okay.
Love's Got a Hold on Me, which I don't know much about. Again, I've only found that one. But
it's on YouTube. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One that I really couldn't find, I only found snippets, was
Dance Floor. Well, of
Dance Floor Mix.
Yes. So, it came out on vinyl, and I'm going to get you one. And now Scott told me last week that he's going to put it out on digital.
Super.
That song was released. It was what we called we only had like 250 of them. So it was one of those things where we were kind of trying it out.
Yeah, the market.
Yeah, but yet trying to make it like an urgent thing. You got to go get this, So that one definitely is going to come out in digital this year.
What I kept on seeing was a video of the pressing being played.
Yes.
on the vinyl pressing being played.
Right.
I like it. I get it.
So, thank you.
For everyone listening, when that track comes out, it's I think it's going to do you well.
Thank you. Everybody liked it. I got lots of good feedback, and Scott, Des, I don't know if they did anyone, and I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but Scott and Des, they just, they're just magic. I met Scott here on Facebook, and we have become like family. I literally, the first time I came over in years was about 3 or 4 years ago. He and I had become friends. he offered me to stay at his house. And it's just the craziest thing, the internet. I don't know if I'm going to see a mass murder or some shit, Oops, sorry. Anyway, and so my husband was like, you sure you're okay? You feel good about it? I went, he picked me up. I stayed in his home with his mom, and we are just like family now. It was the most wonderful thing. And he and Steve Teasdale and Des Ford, I call them, like I feel like Dorothy, and they're my three saviors, if you will. Great guys. And they are who I deal with on that side of the world.
Mm.
And everyone knows that. Anything I do has to go through them because they know what's happening. So I can't see anything, so they will
see more now than in 1991.
exactly. 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 And I have to say, some people are business people and some people aren't. I wasn't.
And you trusted people.
I did. Yeah. And I think that, I'm still that person. I'm still that person. And I haven't been perfect. I've done some wacky stuff. Sorry. Are you gonna? I'm a cusser anyway, but I've done. I'm not perfect, but I do believe that now, as I said, I have control. I get it. I understand, and it's a different world now with music and streaming and all this. I mean, anybody can put a record out. You know what I mean? I think
I can't sing.
Well, that's okay. That's all right. You wear an extra small T-shirt. I mean, come on, you've got some things going on for you.
We won't tell the viewers.
And let's look. Your first Zoom interview like this is going well, I would say.
Oh, good, lovely. Well, it's the 30th anniversary, and that's what really prompted me to communicate with you. Well, a month or two ago.
Sure.
And when I was on your Facebook site, I noticed that you were making some anniversary
T-shirts. Yeah.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
So, do you want to just tell the viewers about them? And
I would love that. Thank you. Yes. So it was something that just sort of came to mind. And I'm like, hey, it's 30 years. Why don't I celebrate me and celebrate 30 years? As Snoop Dogg would say at the Grammys when he got this special award, I want to thank me. Anyway, so I wanted to thank me for being a part of that track. And so I decided to make a limited edition 30-year anniversary. It's an album, 12-inch logo on a T-shirt, and it's just got Kim Sims, Too Blind to See It in 1991, 2021. But what makes it special is that I have signed them. And so that is kind of like a gift to those that stuck by and still stick by. And I'm selling them. I built a website. As I said, some people are business people and some people aren't. But if anybody's interested, they can come to if you don't mind me saying this.
No, say it.
Okay, thank you. They can either come to my Kim Sims fans page or Kim Sims, just Kim Sims in general, or message me, and I can give them all the details. And I can show them the T-shirt and all that stuff. But the other
all you got to do is type in Kim Sims. So that's
yes, KYM. SIMS. Yeah. And people for years, people were doing it. KYM, SYMS, KYM, SYMMS. I mean, and you know what? I never corrected anybody because I didn't care. You know what I mean?
Well, I do notice though that on Facebook they don't like Y's because when you Kim Sims, when you're searching, you can't see the Y. So it looks.
Isn't that something?
It
looks like K.
But,
is that right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then, it's funny because you've got Kim Mazel who started spelling her name with the Y. I don't know when. I started back in 74. You know, my
You
mom.
were born then.
No. What had happened was
Your
my
mum-
mom was like ahead of her time, and she had said that when I was born, when I come to the world, she gonna, yeah, that's right. That's right. I love you more. Anyway, so the SIMS part of Kim Sims is my ex-husband, but I've kept it. Well, the kids are Sims, but I've kept it from the musical side because that's who people know me as. And it, you know, I tried to get off and just call myself Kim or Kimmy, but everybody that Sims had a ring to it, and so that's why it stays. So this particular t-shirt will have that. And then, as I said, I signed it Kim Sims 2021. And the other part of that is what I'm going to do. Give me 1 second, okay, if you don't mind. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. So what I'm doing is the proceeds from the t-shirt, I am actually going to be donating to homeless children or orphans. And the reason I chose that is 5 years ago, I found out that I was adopted, and that the people that raised me all these years, they were not my biological parents. And for 10 months of my life, I was living in an orphanage. And then my mom and dad, who raised me, came and adopted me. Well, took me in as a foster child at 10 months old, and then adopted me when I was 3. I never left their home, so I was always in their home. But they adopted me, and when I tell you, I had the best life, the best parents, and I just feel like there's some kids out there that could be as lucky as me, and they're disadvantaged, and I just need to give back. So that's how I'm gonna do that. So I just want the audience to know that as well. Just, it feels good
When
to
you
do.
were talking earlier, it really came through that you had a very happy childhood.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I was blessed, honestly. And the only thing that bothers me through all of this, I shouldn't say the only thing, but one of the things, I mean, we could be on, we'll talk later, but one is that I wasn't able to thank my parents. They both passed away before I found out.
Oh.
So I wasn't able, you know, to thank them. You would have never known that I wasn't their child. I never, ever, ever felt not loved. And I was one of the good cases, you know, but there's so many people out here that are, you know, that are adopting children, which I think are great. It's great. And you have people that are housing children, and, you know, they collect a check for it, but I believe they have in their hearts that they want to do the right thing by kids, you know, and then there's some that don't. But I'm hoping and praying that just getting the word out there and just telling people, you know, my story could help someone else. Do you know what I mean? So it's been a journey, but I've made it through, and I actually got to meet the bio mom. She since has passed away a couple of years ago. It didn't work out, but it's okay. And I met the bio sisters from the mom's side. It didn't work out, but it's okay. But then I got a chance to meet my bio sister from my father. Now he's passed away, but I have a great relationship with her. Her name's Lisa Dennis, and she and I we're good. So yeah. So you know, it's been kind of crazy, but it's been good. I can't complain. And you know what? I know if my life was different, if I had stayed in that situation, I never would be here. I know that for a fact. I always tell people the birth mom gave birth to me, but my parents, Howard and O.C. Teamer, gave me life.
I think that's a fantastic way of finishing.
Yes, I do. So I just thought that. I said, now, the end. No. Yeah, but it is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thanks very much for being my debutante interview.
You're welcome.
for my epic lockdown Saturday house party.
Awesome. I'm so glad. Thank you.
There's a not what the whole premise of this was initially was for us to have a house party and invite guests on, and for them
Right.
to say what type of music if they had a house party, what would be the songs or the vibe that they would want playing in that.
Right.
And we haven't prepped this at all. So,
Right.
what type of style of music would you want playing in your house party in where you live? If you
Kim Sims? No. Duh. No.
that's one.
One. I tell you what. I love Martha Wash.
Yes.
I love me some Barbara Tucker.
Yeah.
I love some Robin S. I love oh God, Sybil. Anything Jamie Principle,
Yeah.
anything Scott Featherstone, who is the producer of Life, he just knows. And so when you talk about the type of house, I like vocal house.
Yes. Yes.
So I would, I'd be playing a lot of vocal house and Kim Sims throughout the whole party. I mean, come on now. But yeah, I love those deep, gutsy, heavy singers, and something that just keeps it going, deep bass, maybe in the night with some I don't know, something Joey Negro-ish and something with the little David Morales twist to it, anybody and any who he's ever remixed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tony Moran, somebody he's mixed with Deborah Cotton, just those kind of songs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing the new song.
Oh yeah, thank you so much.
We definitely will be playing it. So
okay, and message me with your address, and I'm gonna connect you to Scott Featherstone. I'm gonna get that MP3 or whatever, to dance floor over to you. And have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity to get out here. You are really, truly someone that's helping me have people recognize that I'm still out here. So I truly appreciate you for that.
No, I appreciate you giving me the chances to interview. And
hey, let me tell you something. No man in the world.
Don't wait for me, 'cause I won't be there, not this time. Boy, can't you see that I am leaving you behind? You got to see what you are doing. You got to see what you are doing.